What's going on, my broskies? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. This time we're having a look at the brand new batch of level limit breaks that's arriving to the game, and these are always exciting because you get to see these older characters with these very old school and degrading abilities kind of get a little bit more modernized, so we're hoping for big things here today. And of course, this is a full batch of level limit breaks that is more focusing on the OPTC Girls Celebration, as we now have a full batch of female characters that are receiving level limit break upgrades. So the first character, though, this is the only legend, unfortunately, that is getting a level limit break in this batch, which is going to be V1 Big Mom. V1 Big Mom definitely needed it, so we're hoping for big things here. So let's go ahead and have a look at her abilities. So her captain ability, actually, let's have a look at her base captain ability here. So you get Strength X Quick 3.75 times attack, 1.3 HP. Similar slots have a matching slot effects, which is obviously, I think this was probably one of the first characters to introduce the similar mechanic. I'm pretty sure it was. And then it says that there are obviously different versions of her captain ability. So it changes the crew's recovery slots into similar, and then it boosts her captain ability after you consume a similar slot. And if you don't consume a similar slot, then you get the rampaging captain. If you guys have never had the opportunity to utilize V1 Big Mom before, she's very, very odd. She doesn't work like a lot of other units in the game, and you have to be very cautious as to when you actually use Big Mom and when you're using her as a captain. But even still, if you do plan her out correctly, she can destroy content. But, you know, obviously, there's lots of issues in regards to the way that she's built. And her special wasn't that exciting. It does quite a lot of damage to a single target. It gives herself a matching slot, which is good. And then if she's one of your captains, then your top row will get locked slots for 2 turns, and then also doubles their attack and all boosts for 3 turns. If she's not the captain, instead of for both captains getting the buff, it's just for herself. So it's a very, very weirdly built unit. So let's go ahead and have a look at the rest of her kit now with level limit break. So now it's -2 cooldown at the start of the quest. Surprise, surprise. We absolutely love to see cooldown. 4.75 times attack this time with a 1.5 health boost. Similar slots are matching. And now it says that with her effect, with her special captain ability, strength and recovery slots become similar. That's interesting. And then boosts the captain ability when you consume a similar slot. If you haven't consumed one after 3 turns, then you get her rampaging captain ability. So we can see here that the similar slots, they're basically like rainbow orbs. They can't be changed by the enemy or your own abilities, which is one of the most powerful components of these, which are very, very good. Similar slots are not like recovery slots. In the middle of the quest, when you eat a recovery slot, you immediately get the HP back. Similar works a bit differently because you only actually get the HP back at the end of the turn. So you can still die even if you pick up a health slot in the middle of the run, because similar slots just work a bit differently. But of course, you get the rampaging captain, which in her V1 counterpart, she was only a 10 times multiplier. When she went into her super evolution, I believe it was a 12 times multiplier. So that's going to be interesting to see. Yeah, with the super evolution, she went to a 12 times multiplier, and obviously the base captain ability went up as well. So this is the effect that she gets with level limit break, but then you've also got her effect of when you actually get her level limit break, as well as the limit break captain buff. So her expansion does give her a captain buff as well. So this is the max capacity that you can possibly get. So we already had a look at the base captain, which is the top effect. So the one below it is what happens when you consume a similar slot. When you consume a similar slot, Big Mom for the next turn gets a buffed captain ability, where you get 5.5 times attack to herself, and then everyone else gets 5.25 times attack and 20% damage reduction. So it's actually like quite good. That's a very good captain. But then you have to be worried about the rampaging effect. So the rampaging effect here, which is a 15 times attack boost to Big Mom herself. When she is rampaging, she is one of the hardest hitting units in the game. And then everyone else still gets a 5 times attack boost, of course. But the thing is you actually cannot attack with Big Mom. The way that it works is you can only attack with the rest of your crewmates. The ones that are not Big Mom will attack, and then after you have attacked with all of your available units, Big Mom will automatically attack, and she hits really, really hard. The only real issue with this rampaging captain ability is the fact that chain effects are not applied when Big Mom attacks. So the rest of your crewmates will attack, they do their damage and everything else, but then when Big Mom attacks, it's almost as if there's an additional turn that happens, and chain buffs are not applied here, which means that, even though you have these really good chain locking or chain buffing effects, Big Mom can't really abuse them that well, so that's one of the big issues with her. But of course, when you give her all of her buffs, she's a very, very strong unit when she hits with 15 times attack. As we all know how hard hitting units like 5.5 and 5.75 times is. Imagine it with a 15 times multiplier. It's quite a lot, right? But of course, the rampaging will continuously happen until you eat a Semler slot. It's all about managing your Semler slots. Now, that's her captain ability, obviously quite extensive in terms of what she does. You've got her special ability as well with her level limit break, which is going to go ahead and lock slots for 2 turns, and that's for all characters this time. And then your strength, dex, and quick get a 1000 base attack boost, and then changes her own slot, including block, into strength. Of course, if you use her as a captain, that strength slot will be a similar slot. And then it will also state that if she is one of your captains in the top row, then it will go ahead and boost the top row attack and orbs by 3.5 for 3 turns. But if she's not one of the captains, then it boosts her own attack and orb boost by 4 times for 2 turns otherwise. So yeah, she can hit really hard still. Very, very hard hitting unit. But still, if you're up against content that isn't Dex, then her damage is nerfed quite considerably. So you have to take all of that into consideration. So V1 Big Mom, it's pretty much what we expected. We didn't expect much else from this unit. So look, it is what it is. It's V1 Big Mom. She's fine. She's okay. But I don't really think people are going to use her that much. Alright, so now we can have a look at the rest of the level limit break batch. We've got some treasure map units, and we have some Rumble rare recruits, including Rebecca Toy Soldier, which I know a lot of people are excited about. First of which we have, not Rebecca, this is actually Vivi. So Vivi now, with her captain ability, reduces cooldown by 1, boosts Psy by 4.25 with a 1.5 recovery boost, slightly boosts chances of crews landing on recovery slots. Psy characters get a 5.25 times attack during turns where you use her special ability, as well as making int recovery and tandem slots beneficial. So, it's fine. No one's really using this unit as a captain, so that's not really that bad. But still, 5.25 for a free-to-play unit is actually really good, especially because she does have double special launch. So, being able to use it on one turn and then on another turn to actually get the 5.25 on multiple turns can actually work. Moving on to her special, reduces a Rainbow Shield and defense up by 2 turns, that's very good. Reduces Chain Lock and Chain Coefficient Reduction by 3 turns. Doubles attack for 1 turn. Boosts their attack by 2.25 in turns where her special is used. Oh, okay, so when you use her special ability twice in the same turn, it's a 2.25 times boost instead. And if the character slot is a recovery slot when the special is launched, you heal 10,000 and change adjacent slots into recovery. That's kind of weird. Very, very weird, because before, with her level limit break, prior to the level limit break, she always would remove the slots, right? Yeah, she always changes adjacent slots into recovery. But now she only does it if you have a recovery slot on Vivi herself. That seems a little weird. We might have to do some testing on that one, because if that's the case, I don't even know if this is even worth the buff. I mean, while the double special launch and the utility she provides is really good, the orb changing only if she has a recovery slot is a little strange, unless if that is worded incorrectly and she always does it. But the way that this is worded makes it seem like she has to have a recovery slot for her to heal and change the slots. I don't know, I think I'm just reading it really weirdly, but anyways, Vivi seems fine. I mean, she's okay. Not really game breaking in any sense. The next one is Stussy. Now, I remember when Stussy first came out, she was a little finicky because, I mean, she removed Special Bind by 5 turns, but she only removed Special Bind and Despair by 4 turns. So I can see immediately this is going to get changed. So let's see what it's going to be. Captain ability with the level limit break is going to give -1 cooldown, shoot a Cerebral, get 4.25 attack, reduces special reverse by 3 turns, that's very good, and then boost Shooter Cerebral by 5.25 during turns where her special is launched. So, you know, definitely a lot better. Doesn't have double special launch like Vivi, but her special ability reduces Despair and Special Bind by 5 turns, which is very good. If the crew has a color affinity boost when you launch the special, it will further boost it by 0.25. Otherwise, she gives Strength, Shooter, and Cerebral 2 times the color affinity. So very basic special, but it's good. Like, this is a special ability that we'll definitely see play. Good utility removal, as well as a color affinity boost to 1 color and 2 classes. Like, it's perfectly acceptable to me. This seems very, very good. She also resists 5 turn of special bind, and then reduces her cooldown by 1 turn every time another cerebral or shooter uses the special, so you can get her special back actually very quickly. But unfortunately, this crewmate ability is not accessible when she's the captain, because you only get crewmate abilities as a crewmate, so you can't get her special back multiple times very quickly to use the special multiple times to get the buffed captain, though she does only have a 6 turn cooldown, which is pretty acceptable, honestly. She does have fear resistance as well, which is very big for a unit that can remove special bind, resist it with their crewmate, as well as have fear resistance. Very good combination. She seems pretty good overall. Final treasure map unit is Tashigi, and Tashigi still sees a little bit of play due to the fact that she's very good up against the Grand Voyage versus Axan Morgan. So let's see what buffs she receives this time around. Her captain gives -1 cooldown to Slasher and Cerebrals, and then Slasher Cerebrals get a 4.25 times attack and heals 2000 HP at the end of the turn. Slasher Cerebral get 5 times attack when HP is 80% or above, and reduces damage taken the lower the HP is, up to 40%. Okay, I mean, it's fine. This could see some play, I guess, if people need a Slasher or Cerebral captain. Probably not, though. The special ability, oh, this is actually pretty extensive. Okay, so if the crew is healed over 20,000 HP beyond their max HP before the special is launched, then it reduces defense up and threshold by 6 turns. That's pretty good, but having to reach the 20,000 overheal is pretty rough. And then it will reduce all enemies' defense up and threshold by 4 turns otherwise. So that's a pretty big jump, going from 6 to 4. It will also change Slasher Cerebral block and type slots into matching. That's very good. And gives color affinity boost to Slasher Cerebral by 2 times for 1 turn. If the crew has a color affinity boost when you launch the special, it will further increase the boost by 0.25. Okay, that's actually pretty good. This unit seems really strong. That special is very good, and definitely just a buffed version of the current version of Tashigi. I mean, I don't think this unit really particularly needed a buff at this current point in time. I think there were definitely some other units they could have chosen to give some buffs and make them a lot better, but honestly, she seems pretty good still. I don't really see too many issues at all. Obviously has a really good support effect, which removes defense up when you hit a perfect, attaching to Smoker or Zoro. Still really good for that. And then the final 2 characters is the Pirate Rumble rare recruit. So there's not really too much to talk about in regards to what these units do, because we're just looking at their Rumble stuff. So for Conis, she doesn't actually see a lot of play, some very niche usages in int teams going up specifically against Psi teams. So her Rumble ability now, for the first 40 seconds, Psi enemies get level 6 CT speed down, and for the first 40 seconds, your int teammates level 5 defense up. That's pretty good. That's a very, very solid set of skills. However, I feel like it is a bit counterintuitive, and I'll explain why. Because for the first 40 seconds, you're giving such heavy CT down to the opponent's Psi team, and during that time period, you would actually probably want to have increased attack, right? Because you're basically making it in such a way where you have so much more CT compared to your opponent being the Psi team, that the defense up doesn't matter as much. Well, yes, the opponents are still going to launch their specials in the first 40 seconds despite the CT decrease, but I feel like maybe an offensive increase instead of a defensive one for your int squad probably would have made a bit more sense. Either way, still pretty good. And then her Rumble special now will target all enemies for defense down 5, speed down 6, and guard percent up down 6, and then targets 2 Psi enemies for 100% chance of special bind for 20 seconds is pretty good. And there's not a lot of Psi characters that actually resist special bind, like Yamato, for example, will get hit really hard by that. And then also targets 1 Psi-type enemy for 100% chance of action bind for 10 seconds. Yeah, this just seems pretty good. I think this is just a straight-up buff to the original Conis that we all know and love. She herself completely evades special bind and reduces Psi damage by 35%. So, yeah, for sure, if this is a unit that you will actively use on your int team against opposing Psi teams, then yeah, getting this buff, Limit Break expanding her, and getting the posters into this unit to get her those buffs for her Rumble stuff, probably not a bad idea. But this is not a very commonly seen Rumble character in the game, so I can't really recommend it personally. I'm not going to use level Limit Break wanted posters on a unit such as this, but the option is there. So next on the list is Rebecca and Toy Soldier, which I think a lot of people are excited about because this is a very common unit that sees play in Pirate Rumble. So let's jump into what she can do. So her Rumble ability is going to give Psi characters attack 6, defense 5, HP 5. I believe this is a pretty decent buff before, because what did it do before? attack 6, defense 2, HP 5. So the defense is what got buffed pretty drastically there. That's a massive increase, actually. Yeah, going 6 attack, 5 defense, 5 HP. So just really good bulk at it. And Side don't actually have the best bulk right now, so that's pretty good. And then her Rumble Special targets all 3 enemies this time. Previously, it was only 2. So targets 3 enemies for 2.25 damage. Targets enemies in a large range for defense down 5. And then slashers get a further level 5 defense down. I actually want to have a look and see what her buffs were beforehand. So it was 2 enemies for 2 times damage. So slightly more damage and targets an additional enemy. And the defense down for all targets was level 3. And the defense down for slashes was still level 5, so more defense down and more damage. So they've done a pretty good job so far with what this unit actually aims to do. And then her resistance, completely evading special bind, is very good, and also reducing damage from int by 35%. This is a character that I can definitely see people using their level limit break wanted posters for. Being able to get an additional bit of damage from this character's special is very good, because I mean, she has 22 special CT for what she does. That's absurdly broken, I gotta say. Like, that's really, really good. So if anything, this might be one of the best Rumble rare recruits in the game to use wanted posters for, purely just because of that. Also, getting increased damage reduction versus int is always very nice to have. Evading special bind, you know, good against the Conis that we just talked about. Good against Super Tandem Kid, who can special bind side characters as well. I believe also versus the Pirate Rumble rare recruit Dory, he can also special bind. So there's a couple of units there that this unit is going to be extra better against. So overall, a very interesting batch of level limit breaks. I think V1 Big Mom, I mean, it's pretty much what we expected. Stussy's a nice upgrade, Tashigi's a nice upgrade, and Rebecca Toy Soldier also really, really good. So there we have it. I'm just looking forward to even more free-to-play level limit breaks. You know, obviously the Rumble rare recruits are not free-to-play, but like more treasure map units for sure. Maybe potentially we'll get Kizuna Clash level limit breaks in the future as well. I would still love for them to go back to Clash characters and give them level limit breaks too. We'll have to wait and see how things progress, but hopefully you guys enjoyed the video today, and if you guys did enjoy it, make sure to go ahead and leave a like, and if you want to stay up to date with all the content that I post on my channel, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. And that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.